In clinical studies on animals, the drug known as TGN-1412 is deemed fit for human trials and testing. However, the outcome goes horribly wrong. In 2006, a Phase 1 clinical study was conducted for an antibody known as TGN-1412 on 6 human volunteers. After the first infusion dose, 500 times smaller than that found safe in animal studies, all 6 human volunteers faced life-threatening conditions. The results saw multiple organ failures in which each of the 6 patients were required to be swiftly moved to the intensive care ward, during which, at the time, little is known about their reactions or conditions that followed. The video is one that nightmares are made of and shows just how wrong a clinical trial can go. This particular incident resulted in major changes in how clinical trials are conducted in the future. Blackfish tells the story of Tilikum, a once-performing orca that killed several people while in captivity. This incredible documentary rocks the viewer's perception of how animals on display endure life. Director and producer Gabriella Copperwaith presents shocking footage and emotional testimonials. Director and producer Gabriella Cowperthwaite presents shocking footage and emotional testimonials. She explores the killer whale's extraordinary nature and the cruel treatment these species have to endure whilst in captivity. This is a true account of SeaWorld's horrific past, the lives and losses of trainers, and the pressures brought to bear by the multi-billion-dollar sea park industry. This emotionally wrenching film challenges us to consider our relationship to nature and reveals how little we as humans have learned from these highly intelligent and enormously sentient fellow mammals. Entitled Anunnaki, Do Not Watch This Film, the audience is given an overview of the rise of cable from Anunnaki times onwards to the use and extent of mind control and censorship technology. The documentary explores the existence of deep underground military bunkers, the cooperation between alien greys, and the Nazi-populated CIA. It discusses weather warfare, biological pandemics, the participation of intelligence organizations with global drug trades, Satanism, the Illuminati, and almost everything else conspiratorial that you can think of. The video tells the audience that global warming is a hoax, that alien species are working with the US government, what help they have given them, and even where they all work, as well as why they help the government. And it is all presented in a very pleasing format. It is certainly worth the half-an-hour watch. A Canadian inventor named John Hutchinson is identified with having possibly made one of science's most controversial discoveries. The Hutchinson effect, as the term has been coined, is a highly anomalous electromagnetic discharge which causes the jellification of metals and spontaneous levitation of common substances. John alleges that the effect was discovered while he was attempting to recreate the experiments of Nikola Tesla in the late 1970s. John captured these effects on video and has made the extraordinary claim that he has demonstrated it for scientists from the US Army intelligence. These claims are fraught with doubt, however, as the effect is not reproducible, even by the discoverer himself. The eccentric inventor is known for having conducted his experiments in his apartment using surplus Navy and Army equipment. John's experiments drew upon Tesla coils and a static electricity machine known as a Van de Graaff generator. It is uncertain how these devices contribute to the effect, but many of his supporters believe that John is the New Age Tesla and has somehow tapped into zero-point energy. Skeptics of John's work are far and wide and believe that his videos are the work of nothing more than mere magnets and trickery. In 1991, a particularly damning piece of evidence against him was produced for a television special which shows a toy UFO levitating and jumping around wildly. Unfortunately for John, a string is clearly visible in the upper left-hand corner of the video, wiggling in sync with the UFO's movements. He initially claimed that the wire was part of the apparatus, but later he confessed that he was creative with the footage because he'd been unable to reproduce the effect since 1991. This documentary commences with director Laura Poitras, who has been in communication via encrypted emails with someone who calls themselves Citizen 4. She learns that she has been selected to create a documentary about a phenomenal uncovering due to Laura's previous experience at the reach of the United States government. Laura and Citizen 4 communicate via email for months until they are able to arrange an in-person meeting in Hong Kong, where she is accompanied by journalist Glenn Greenwald and Ewan MacAskill. Citizen 4 is revealed as being Edward Snowden, who has been contracted to work for the National Security Agency. He has in his possession classified documents that prove that the NSA is spying on people both domestic and abroad, and have been doing so by collecting metadata, recording conversations, and reading emails. Over 8 days, Laura films interviews between Snowden, McCaskill and Greenwald, where he explains exactly what he has, why he is coming forward, and how he believes that the NSA is breaking the law with no system in place to keep it in check. Population Zero explores a constitutional loophole that in essence saw a self-confessed murderer walk free. In April 2009, 3 young men were killed in cold blood in a remote part of the Yellowstone National Park. Dwayne Nelson walked into a ranger station miles away and confessed to the crime. Despite his detailed confession, Nelson was allowed to go free because of a loophole in the American Constitution. Canadian documentarian Julian Pinder travels to Yellowstone in a compelling chase for the truth behind a crime that should have rocked the nation. How is it possible that the United States Constitution, the supreme law of the United States of America, let a guilty man go free? In his hunt for answers, Pinder breaks the first rule of documentary film making by allowing himself to become the subject of the story. He risks his life and that of others when he finds evidence that could reopen the case of the Yellowstone murderers years later. Structured unlike any film before it, The Fourth Kind is a provocative thriller set in modern-day Nome, Alaska, where mysteriously since the 1960s, a disproportionate number of the population have been reported missing each year. Despite multiple FBI investigations of the region, the truth has never truly been uncovered, until now. In this remote region of the United States, psychologist Dr. Abigail Tyler, portrayed by Mila Jovovich, begins videotaping sessions with traumatized patients and unwittingly discovers some of the most disturbing evidence of alien abduction documented. Drawing upon never-before-seen archival footage integrated into the film, The Fourth Kind exposes the terrified revelations of multiple witnesses. Their accounts of being visited by alien figures all share disturbingly similar events, the validity of which is investigated through this film.